Hey everyone, Vince Giordano, Juniata County Library. And each day I offer you a short video to answer your questions, so ask us anything. And today we have a guest with us. We have Jean Miller, who is an employee at the library. She works at the front desk, but she works a lot doing interlibrary loan. And I am looking to have staff on the video series here just to introduce them to you and to show you what they do for the library, and especially positions like Gene that happen behind the scenes mostly, but they affect a lot of what you get out of the library experience. So, Gene, how you doing?
Okay. Good. Nervous.
Yeah, no, I don't bite.
I know.
So, Gene, just give us an overview, I guess, of what you do when it comes to interlibrary loan at the library.
Sure. So interlibrary loan is a free service that we offer. Um, Sometimes when patrons come into our library, we don't have what they're looking for. So that's where interlibrary loan comes into play. Um, I have two networks that I can go to. The first one is Power Access PA Catalog, um, or Access PA. And what that is a network of libraries across Pennsylvania. And I did a little research this morning. There's actually 1,500 institutions that are a part of that network. And there are 8.1 million titles and 43 million holdings. So if we don't have it, chances are somebody in Pennsylvania will have the item that our patron's looking for. So what I do is I make a request through that network, and then I wait for a lender. And it can take a little time. We usually say 2 to 3 weeks. I get a lender, the lender ships it in, and then I prep it and call our patron, and they have it for um, usually a month, sometimes a little longer. It all depends on what the lender gives. And yeah, and if I can't get it through that network, I have the other network, which is we refer to it as OCLC. And that one, that network, I don't directly deal with, but what I do is our district office makes those requests for me. I send them an email with the information, and then they look to getting that item from libraries outside of Pennsylvania. So we have our in-state network, which I deal with directly, and then we have the out-of-state network, which they deal with, and then they do the request, and then the item comes directly to me then.
Now, which of those two, Access PA or OCLC, which do we at the library get most of our materials from?
Access PA.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
hands down, Access PA.
because like you said, there's 1,500 libraries and
Mm-hmm.
millions of holdings.
Mm-hmm.
How many items do we bring in from other libraries, and how many items of ours do we send out? Usually, like a month.
Um, sure, yeah. I usually, on average, I believe it's between 45 and 50 requests that I make on behalf of our patrons. But then the other side of the coin is we loan out to other libraries as well. And that is running about 45 to 50 items per month as too. Their numbers are pretty close, actually. Yeah.
And what type of items are our patrons asking for that we get from other libraries?
Um, Mostly books and DVDs. We have a lot of series, like on DVDs, TV shows and whatnot, but sometimes we might be missing a series because, well, for various reasons, we might not have the complete set. Um, and so I've been getting a lot of those things in for people. And then the books, it can be anything from children's books, textbooks for courses that my patrons taking through community college or whatnot, um, and book clubs. A lot of patrons are involved with book clubs, and they're looking for books or multiple copies of books that we only have maybe one on our shelf, and they need four more for the rest of the group.
Do you feel that if a library has a lot of ILL requests, does that mean their library isn't buying the right materials?
No, not at all. sometimes, like for our library, we're a small library and we can't afford certain materials, especially the books that are self-published. They tend to cost a little bit more. Bigger libraries like Carnegie, the Carnegie libraries out in Pittsburgh, they might have those materials because they can afford to buy them. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
What would you say is the hardest part of your job?
The hardest part is telling a patron, I am so sorry, I can't get that item for you. I really hate to do that to our patrons. It doesn't happen often, but often though those the authors who do self-publish, sometimes those articles they're only available as a Kindle version, or they're just not cost effective, for any library to purchase, especially if the single title is like $40. A lot of libraries won't make that investment for, a one-off book. So yeah, the hardest part is letting the patrons know that I can't get the item for them.
Yeah.
But I do try to give them alternatives
Yeah.
sometimes. Like sometimes I look at different sites because I hate to say, I'm sorry, we can't get it for you, you just can't get it. But sometimes you can find a used copy. And so I do try to, help patrons find used copies that maybe they could purchase for a few dollars, or especially with the textbooks. Textbooks are really hard to get because a lot of libraries don't keep them. They don't invest in them because they change. And depending on the professors, sometimes the professors say, well, you need to use this certain book. It's hard for libraries to meet that demand. But sometimes you can find textbooks, for $20 or $30 versus, $300 to $400 new.
Now, can anyone ask for anything through interlibrary loan, like a new book, an old one, like, or are there restrictions on what you can
Um,
and cannot get?
there are restrictions. Most libraries have a rule where if something has been published in the last year, it's not eligible for interlibrary loan. Because, and we do that too. We have that policy at our library because we want those new items to be available to our patrons. I've had some success getting things that have been published like over 6 months, like between 6 and 12 months, but not often. I will always try, but chances are we won't be able to get something that new.
Because if it's new, you want your patrons, like you said, to have it first. And
Right.
if you consider the duration, it could be, you know, a week or so to get it to the other library. They have it for a month or so, a few weeks to get
Mhm.
it back. And that could be almost 2 months for a brand new
Right.
item that our people don't even have.
Right. Yeah. There's
Yeah.
a lot of time involved because you do have to factor in not only the amount of time the patron has the item, but the shipping time as well.
And what's the shipping cost? Does that cost a lot?
Um, I honestly don't know the exact totals. I mean, what I can say is that the majority of our items are shipped UPS, and this is really great. We have a system, it's called IDS. I think it stands for Interlibrary Delivery Service, and they negotiate a contract with UPS every year, that instead of being charged by the weight, like you normally would be for a UPS package, we are charged by the number of packages we send. Now we do have a weight limit of 30 pounds, but I never hit 30 pounds on a package of books. So we have that option. I don't know what we pay for that or how it breaks down. Um, and then I also ship through the postal service, and that can be, it just depends on how many items I have to return weekly or loan out. It averages maybe about $20 a week, I would say.
Okay. So, that's some of the challenging things with your job. What would you say are some of the most rewarding parts of your job?
Getting the items for the patrons, definitely, especially ones that I thought would be really, really hard to get and actually was able to get them. There's a couple that stand out. There was one shortly when I started doing ILL for the library. One of our patrons was looking for a really old book. I think it was like published in the late 1800s, and very few libraries had it, and it had to do with think the French and Indian War. I'm not really sure, but it had to do with one of the wars. It was like history, and it was the Indiana um, University that supplied us the book. And when the book came, I was like amazed that they even loaned it to us because the pages were falling out of it, literally. I mean, it was just that old. But the patron was totally thrilled because it was like a family history thing he was working on, and there was a relative that was actually a participant in that war, and he just wanted to find out about his relative. So it was really a thrill to be able to get that for him. And then there was another patron recently who's doing some college courses, and she needed a textbook, which I was really nervous about whether or not I could even get it for her. But not only we got it from Penn State main campus, they actually gave it to her for several months, so she would have it throughout the whole course that she was doing. So
Wow.
that was a great thrill. But yeah,
Nice.
it's like I feel like it's like Christmas, you know. I love supplying books to the people who are, you know, looking for them.
Now, many of our jobs are much more complicated and involved than people think. What would you say are some things that you wish people would know about what you do, or are much more complicated than people would normally think?
Um, well, I'll tell you, the more information I can be provided, the better. I've been given ISBN numbers that I can't find. Like I'm giving, like we have, see, if you go to our website, you can fill out a form that will come to me in an email with, and we ask for the title of the book, the author of the book, the date, a year of publication, the ISBN. The more information I have, the easier it makes it for me to find exactly what the patron wants. I've had situations where I have a title and an author and I can't find that item. But if I keep digging, I can usually find it. And it's all because of the way maybe it's because it's the way it's cataloged on the other library end. I don't know why. Sometimes it's hard to find certain things, but I know even like when I'm given an ISBN number, that particular ISBN number may not provide the search result that I want. But if I keep digging, I usually can find what I'm looking for. But sometimes it can take me a day because my time is limited with ILL. That's not the main, I want to say, because I also work circulation desk. It's like my time is divided between both. So I have, you know, so many hours for interlibrary loans, so many hours for circulation desk. And sometimes it can take me a while in some of those searches.
And where did you learn how to do this interlibrary loan job?
I'm self-taught. I read. I love reading, and when I was well, when you hired me to do this job, I went to the Power Library website and read everything I could possibly find, and then asked questions. I talked to other interlibrary loan librarians and asked questions, and I'm pretty good at just figuring things out.
So, during this pandemic, how's that affecting you and your work and life, or even your reading? How's it going for you?
Just in general, like as a general blanket, um, I have my good days and my bad days. I mean, it's nice being home. You think that you're going to get so many things done that you don't normally have time to do, but I find that I'm missing the library. I'm missing my coworkers. I'm missing the patrons. I'm wondering what everybody's doing. And although I really like my family, it's like sometimes a little goes a long way. You have to understand my kids are all older now, so they're all like adults. And I was sharing some pictures on Facebook, and I was told, you know, you need to really get my permission to do that, Mom. And it's like, oh, come on. Um, but yeah, I've been watching, doing some binging, of course, on Netflix, and had to sign up for CBS All Access because I'm a Star Trek fan and, you know, big Trekkie, and Star Trek Picard. Had to watch it. And now I'm watching Hawaii Five-O. And when I'm done with that, I'll probably go on the Blue Bloods. I don't know. And I heard from a reliable source that there's a new season of Bosch on Amazon Prime. So I have to check that out too. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
and I'm reading. Oh, here, I'm going to plug. Can I hold this up? New book. Harlan's new one. He's my
Oh boy.
favorite. Next to Michael Connolly now. He's my second favorite. Sorry, Vince. This came out. Like, I was able to bring it home the day that we closed. I'm so sorry, but hey, send us an email, send us a chat. We'll put it on hold for you, and you'll have it as soon as I'm done, which is when we get back to work.
Very
There,
good.
plug.
Plugged. All right. Anything else you want to add, Gene?
No, I'm good. I feel like I rattled on long enough.
Well, thank you, Gene, for coming
Yeah.
on and thank you for all your work you've been doing. You've been
No, you're
doing this
welcome.
now for almost 2 years, so you do a great job.
Thank
And
you.
thanks for your time and for explaining what you do. And all the best to you and your family. And we hope to see you soon back at the library.
Yeah. Hope to see you guys soon. Yeah, be great. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you, Gene.
Mhm.